Imagine a world where people wake up every day inspired to go to work, feel safe while they're there, and return home fulfilled at the end of the day. That world exists because of great leadership. You see, the difference between those who lead and those who simply hold a position of authority is inspiration. True leaders don't manipulate or demand action. They inspire it. They don't start by telling people what to do or how to do it. They begin with why. Today, I want to take you on a journey, one that begins with a simple but powerful idea. People don't buy what you do. They buy why you do it. And it is that belief, that clarity of purpose, that transforms ordinary individuals into extraordinary leaders. Every single person and organization on the planet knows what they do. Some know how they do it. But very few know why they do what they do. And by why, I don't mean to make a profit. That's a result. I mean, what's your purpose? Your cause? Your belief? Why do you get out of bed in the morning? Why should anyone care? This is where everything starts. Great leaders, the ones who truly inspire action, always start with that one powerful word, why. When a leader or organization starts with why, they are not just selling a product or an idea. They are offering a vision, a belief system, a cause that others can rally around. It's not about pushing something onto people. It's about attracting people who believe what you believe. That's how inspiration works. When people resonate with your purpose, they don't need to be convinced. They want to be a part of it. They want to belong to something meaningful. Starting with why builds that connection. It builds loyalty. And loyalty is what drives lasting action. But think about the companies and leaders you admire most. Whether it's a groundbreaking entrepreneur, a historic movement, or a brand that has shaped your life, what they all have in common is clarity of purpose. Apple is a perfect example. They didn't become one of the most valuable companies in the world by selling computers. They did it by communicating a belief, challenging the status quo and thinking differently. That belief, their why, is what people connect with. Yes, they make great products, but their products are proof of what they believe. The product is the result, not the reason. When leaders start with why, they create a sense of direction and meaning that goes beyond profits or performance metrics. Employees don't just work for a paycheck, they work for a cause. Customers don't just buy, they believe. And belief is a much more powerful motivator than any discount, promotion, or clever marketing campaign. People don't get inspired by what you do. They get inspired by why you do it. And when they're inspired, they act, not because they have to, but because they want to. This concept isn't just about business. It applies to every aspect of leadership. Whether you're leading a team, a classroom, a movement, or even just yourself, clarity of why gives everything you do a deeper sense of alignment and purpose. It becomes the filter through which decisions are made and relationships are built. When people know your why, and when it's authentic and consistent, it breeds trust. And trust is the foundation of leadership. Most organizations and leaders operate from the outside in. They talk about what they do, then how they do it, and maybe, just maybe, they mention why. But the inspired leaders, the ones who create real change, they work from the inside out. They start with why, then move to how, and only then to what. This is the golden circle of influence. Why at the center, how in the middle, and what on the outer layer. When you start with why, everything else falls into place. The message becomes clearer, the connection becomes deeper, and the action becomes more impactful. And starting with why isn't just about communicating it to others. It's about being clear with yourself. If you don't know your own why, it's almost impossible to lead others effectively. Leadership is not about authority or title. It's about clarity and consistency. It's about standing for something that matters, something that inspires, and then living and leading in a way that reflects that belief. It requires courage, vulnerability, and a deep sense of purpose. People crave meaning. They want to feel that their work matters, that their choices align with something bigger than themselves. It's when a leader gives them that, when they can articulate a compelling why, they unlock potential that goes far beyond skills or strategy. They create a culture where people show up with passion and commitment, where people innovate not because they're told to, but because they believe in the mission. And where people stay through hard times not out of obligation, but out of loyalty to the cause. Great leaders don't chase results. They build belief, and belief starts with why. People don't follow strategies, they follow belief. It's not the perfect plan or the most polished presentation that moves people into action. It's emotion, conviction, and the sense that there is something meaningful at stake. Human beings are not purely rational creatures. We make decisions based on what we feel, and then we justify those decisions with logic. That's why great leaders focus on belief before strategy. They know that if you win the heart, the mind will follow. When you think about the most inspiring leaders in history, those who led movements, shifted cultures, or transformed industries, you'll notice that they didn't start by laying out a detailed blueprint. They started by speaking to people's values. They gave people something to believe in. Martin Luther King Jr. didn't stand on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial and deliver a strategy. He delivered a dream. He painted a picture of a future people could see, feel, and emotionally connect with. That vision, driven by belief, mobilized millions. People are drawn to leaders who show up with authenticity and conviction. They are not looking for someone who simply has all the answers. They are looking for someone who deeply believes in what they are doing. When a leader speaks with passion and clarity about their cause, it resonates. It taps into something deeper than intellect. It touches identity, purpose, and hope. And once that emotional connection is made, people are far more likely to commit, contribute, and stay loyal, even in the face of challenges. Belief gives meaning to effort. A team will work harder, stay longer, and push further when they believe in what they are doing. If people are only following a strategy, their effort will waver when things get difficult or uncertain. But if they are driven by belief, if they feel that what they are doing truly matters, they'll show resilience. They'll persist not because they're told to, but because they want to. That's the difference belief makes. A compelling strategy may impress people, but a strong belief system inspires them. Strategy changes based on circumstances. It evolves with market trends, economic shifts, and technological developments. Belief, on the other hand, is constant. It provides a foundation. It becomes the North Star that guides every decision, even when the path ahead is unclear. Great leaders use strategy to execute, but they use belief to lead. This doesn't mean strategy is unimportant. In fact, belief without strategy can lead to chaos. But belief is the engine. It's what gives strategy its power. When people understand and align with the belief behind the strategy, they own it. They're not just following instructions, they are bringing their full selves into the mission. They're more creative, more collaborative, and more committed. That's when true innovation happens, not in boardrooms filled with charts, but in environments charged with purpose. When leaders prioritize belief, they create cultures of meaning. In those cultures, people don't just ask, "What am I supposed to do?" They ask, "Why does this matter?" That shift in mindset transforms the way work is done. It changes the way teams communicate, how they solve problems, and how they support each other. Belief brings alignment. It brings energy. It brings humanity into leadership. Think about the brands or organizations you're loyal to. Chances are it's not just because of what they sell or how efficient they are. It's because of what they stand for. You feel a connection. You believe in their story. That emotional bond isn't accidental. It's built intentionally by leaders who understand that belief leads before logic. That's why purpose-driven companies attract the best talent. That's why missions matter more than money when it comes to long-term loyalty. Inside any team or organization, belief spreads. It becomes contagious. When one person is deeply committed to the cause, it influences others. When a leader consistently communicates and demonstrates belief in the mission, it creates a ripple effect. People start to mirror that conviction. They begin to take ownership, speak with confidence, and act with integrity. Not because they're required to, but because they care. That's how cultures are built. That's how movements begin. Inspiration doesn't come from charts, forecasts, or competitive analysis. It comes from the feeling that we're part of something bigger than ourselves. It comes from knowing that what we do every day contributes to a larger vision. Leaders who understand this don't just talk about outcomes, they talk about impact. They connect people's roles to the greater purpose. They invite people to belong, to believe, and to build something meaningful together. Leadership is not about power or position. It's about the ability to create a space where people feel safe, valued, and inspired to bring their best selves forward. Trust is not built through grand gestures or impressive speeches. It is built slowly through consistency, honesty, and care. Great leaders understand this. They recognize that leadership is not a top-down act of control, but a human relationship built on the foundation of trust. This is what forms the circle of safety, a space where people feel they can take risks, speak up, and grow without fear of judgment or punishment. When leaders create a circle of trust, they send a powerful message. You matter here, you are seen, and you are safe. This does not mean there are no standards or accountability. It means that even in the face of challenges, people feel supported. They know that their leaders will stand with them, not just above them. That sense of belonging and psychological safety unlocks something extraordinary. It unlocks commitment, creativity, and collaboration. People stop playing defense and start playing to win, not against each other, but for something bigger than themselves. Trust doesn't happen automatically. It must be earned, and the way it is earned is through consistency over time. When leaders say one thing and do another, when they shift values to match the moment, when they place results above relationships, trust begins to erode. People become cautious. They start to withhold ideas, protect themselves, and operate out of fear. But when leaders lead with integrity, when their words match their actions and their decisions reflect their values, trust grows. People open up. They take initiative. They step into challenges with confidence, knowing they are not alone. This inner circle of trust must start with the leader. A leader must be willing to go first, to be vulnerable, to listen, to serve. Leadership is not about being the smartest in the room. It's about being the most present, the most committed to the people around you. When a leader leads with empathy and humility, they set the tone for the entire culture. They show others that it's okay to make mistakes, to learn, to ask for help. And in doing so, they create a ripple effect of trust throughout the team or organization. People don't want perfect leaders. They want real ones. They want leaders who care more about people than policies, who see the human being behind the job title. In a trusted environment, people are more honest. They speak up when something's wrong. They offer feedback, not because they're trying to criticize, but because they care about making things better. That openness fuels progress. It drives innovation. It creates a space where everyone has a voice and every voice matters. Inspiration begins on the inside. It starts with how people feel when they show up to work, to school, to a cause. If they feel safe, they will contribute. If they feel valued, they will lead. But if they feel like cogs in a machine or tools to be used, they will hold back. That's why trust is not just a soft skill. It is the foundation of inspired action. Without it, people may comply, but they will not commit. With it, they will go beyond what's expected, not because they're told to, but because they want to. The circle of trust also means that leaders take responsibility for the well-being of those they lead. It means protecting people from unnecessary harm, defending them from threats, internal and external, and standing by them when times get hard. Leadership is not tested when everything is going smoothly. It's tested in moments of pressure, in crisis, in change. That's when people look to their leaders not just for direction, but for reassurance, for strength, for stability. And that's when the trust a leader has built or failed to build becomes visible. When people trust their leaders, they don't need constant supervision. They take ownership. They make decisions with confidence. They support each other. They become leaders themselves. That's the true measure of leadership. Not how many people follow you, but how many people rise because of you. And none of that happens without trust. The circle of safety is not about comfort zones. It's about knowing that even when you step outside your comfort zone, you won't be alone. That someone has your back, that your ideas matter, that your growth is supported. In that kind of environment, extraordinary things happen. Teams don't just work, they thrive. Organizations don't just survive, they evolve. Movements don't just begin, they build momentum. All because one person chose to lead with trust, and that trust spread.